Do you hear my song? That new thing. That's
I
my jam right there.
I heard it.
Yes, that's when I tell you that's my song. That gets me in my mode. Okay.
Like that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. As I introduce to some and present to others, one part of the Walls Group, none other than the maestro. The song. What's
Uh,
Chris?
yeah.
Singer, producer, pastor, prophetess. I'll say this because he definitely delivers a word. Mr. Daryl, Mr. Walls is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today?
Oh, I am honored. I am good. I am actually very. I started late, so I think I should be okay.
Okay, you should, and I'll make sure we make sure you get you out of here early because I know you got to get
Oh,
to.
no, 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 no. I was saying I started late for the day today, which means
Oh,
I should be well rested.
well rested, well rested. For those who don't know who Daryl Walls is, because we know you most, of course, with your brothers and your sisters, right? Who are you?
Wow. Wow. Who am I? I am a regular dude who just loves the Lord
Mm-hmm.
and also loves to see other people pursue their passions and their purpose in life. Um, that's really kind of it, because
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really what. And first of all, I know that's what I'm called to do, is to help other people figure out what their passions are and what their purpose is, and to pursue that by any means necessary. Which is a lot of work, but it's very, very well worth it too. So I think that's just me, a
I love
relaxed,
it.
chill, calm guy.
And I love what you said, Mo. Though what you're called to do is help others to be able to see their passions and go for it. And when we talk about calling, it's first Sunday, and with you being a gospel artist, so many people when we're young, we have these desires to want to be, like you could have went a secular route, but why did you know, and how did you know that gospel was the route for you?
And funny, that funny. We talk about this a lot now lately. I don't know, it's been coming up, but I actually wanted to pursue the secular route. Like that was what I wanted to do. I wanted to be the next Chris Brown, the next Mario. I wanted to be over there on that side. And I remember I was a freshman in college, and I was in school. I was in class one day, and I told God. I remember I was just sitting there looking at the teacher teach, or the professor teach, and I was looking at it, and I was just like, I don't want to do this another 4 years. I can't do 4 years of this. It's safe for me. I'd already done, from pre-K all the way to senior year. I don't want to do no more school. I'm tired. You're going to have to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, when I prayed the prayer, I'm thinking he going to come through and he going to make it what I needed to be made. I'm Jamie Foxx or somebody going to come and be like, yo, I want to sign you. And no, it didn't happen. A video went viral with the Walls Group singing in the car. My mom had us sing in the car, and the video went viral. And from there, things just started happening and happening. I was just like, well, this ain't really what I asked for,
Mm-hmm.
but because the doors are opening and no one is, and we're not pursuing it, this says to me that this is something that I'm supposed to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do it. But I didn't really think that this was something that I was supposed to do until years like into doing it.
Wow. So with having years of being into doing it, and I think I struggle with this, like especially being in the industry, I knew this is what I want to do, being a radio personality since I was younger,
Right.
right? 16, interning at the radio station, going through it through college. And then I decide that I wanted to take my relationship with God further, right? It's one to go
Right.
to church, right? But it's two to get a relationship. And when you get a relationship and you say, okay, I'm about to be saved, you
Right.
start looking at what you do from a different light. And I remember at one point almost walking away because I didn't know how to function and being in a secular world and still
Uh-huh.
being a Christian, or being in a
Yep.
secular world and still trying to be in it but not of it, So how were you, even with that, like I finally kind of got into a groove of learning how to send messages, without deliberately putting, gospel in it, but being able to be present in it. So like, how were you able to still be this cool factor and make God and gospel something that we want to listen to?
Um, I'll be honest. I think it's really just authenticity. When you start to really kind of become comfortable with just who you are, what you like, what you have going on, what you are naturally attracted to as it relates to life, I think when you start just becoming comfortable with that, God uses that. It's not by happenstance that we are the type of people that we are. Like the way you dress, the way you have swag, that's just not by happenstance that you can see things like that. And it's because God uses it to make us relatable enough to be able to give what we need to give out when it's time for us to give it out. Me being cool, relaxed, calm. I am super spiritual, but when you meet me, that is not the first thing you're going to run into. What you're going to run into is this a chill, laid back type of guy who likes to laugh and have a good time. And they'll be like, wow, you're just really cool. I didn't know you was cool. And I'm like, well, this is just me. It's just who I am. And I think the real answer is just authenticity, is how you are, how you are made up is what God uses to make sure that whatever he needs to be said or done gets said and it is done. And that's it. For me, that's what I learned. Because at first I used to think that you had to transform and become, and no matter where you were, you'd be that. Right. And it's like, no. Everybody calm down. Everybody relax. You can be cool and you can be relaxed. You can be that guy in a sense and still give what God is calling you to give without shoving it down people's throats. Because I don't like that myself.
Right. So. And I love that you said that you can be yourself and be the most authentic, because I feel like so many times when you're a Christian and you're walking this walk, it's just like, yo, who can I relate to? How can I go to? And who gonna understand me? And I feel like that's where I kind of always went to music, because in music, we're sharing our story, right? And the song you recently released, most recently, has, like I said, the new thing. We're gonna get into that, because that song gets me to a whole nother level of worship. But the creative, I love this. The creative, right? The creative, because I struggle with when we're told to do the work, right? So like you said, you go to college, you have this goal, have these conversations with God, this is what I want to do, and then stuff don't unfold how you
think it should.
Supposed to, right? Because I'm doing what you said to do. I'm tithing, I'm seeking your word, I'm showing up, right? But as a creative, there's no path like being a nurse, being a doctor, being a lawyer. And when you got the song, it just was like, it spoke to me because I'm a creative. And so in this industry, even in the entertainment industry, and still trying to be a Christian and really show up like how God needs you to show up, it's hard. And that song, I mean, it goes for a good 7 minutes. It spoke to me. It spoke to me. And why was this song something you felt the need to drop? And why did you feel like this prayer for the creative was important?
So what happened was, here's the reality. I was literally knocked out. Mm-hmm. I was knocked out like around 2 o'clock in the morning. And God woke me up. He woke me up around 2 o'clock in the morning. He's like, I need you to pray. And gave me these things to pray for. And one of the things was I need you to pray for the people who are on the front line for me. And I was like, okay, cool. Preachers, bishops, worship leaders, gospel artists. He was like, no. That's what people say are the front line. But the front line, I created this group of people who are able to emote through whatever I tell them to emote, whether that's through art, whether that's through music, whether that's through whatever creatives. I created them to be able to give out from me. They don't know it. A lot of them don't know that I've called them specifically, which is why it's so hard to live the life of a creative, because you have so much going on in your mind and you think it's you, when the reality is it's not always you. It's a lot of what God is just giving you, and a lot of thoughts don't belong to you. They're other people's thoughts. A lot of thoughts don't belong to you. There's just they're God's thoughts about certain things. So you have to, if you don't know or don't really develop the relationship with God, then it's hard to really kind of navigate through your own mental and be what they need you to be and do what they need you to do, and all at the same time. And you like, I am about to lose it. Yes. So I was literally interceding that night. After he showed me, he said, I need you to go ahead and intercede. I was praying and praying and praying and crying and calling out names. But after I was done, I still had this thing in me. So I was like, I'm going to just stay up and I'm going to just sing about it. And I started singing and writing, and then I literally wrote it just singing on the mic. Wow. And I was like, that's what it's going to be. And I did it. And by the next morning, I had finished it. And I was like, maybe I'm tripping. And I sent it to two of my spiritual advisors. And I sent it to Jason Nelson and Pastor YPJ. And they both said to me, they said, dude, you need to release that. And I said, okay. So I released it. And the response for me was incredible, because some of the people who responded or hit me up or called me from both sides, secular, gospel, from people, from friends, close friends, some of the people I prayed for the night before. Wow. And so I knew, I was like, I needed to do that. So that's the reason why I came out. But it's also a baby to me, because when I was singing it, I was crying a low key, because I was like, nah, I'm not in this same space anymore. But I do remember when I was in this space of really trying to figure out what I'm about to do, because I quit every day.
Listen, I like quit a year all the time, because it's like, in a way, it's right. The song is so, I'm emotionally attached to it, and I say that because it's like, as a creative and as someone who's chasing a dream and also trying to chase God, like, I really live off the pillars of ask, seek, and knock. Right? You know, I believe the aspect of going after your dreams, because you have to be diligent and pushing towards those. But then also, along you chasing those, you have to make sure you're chasing him first. So, right? So it's hand in hand at the same time. Yes. And so that song, it's like, okay, I can listen to so many things, but honestly, being a radio personality and going through music, people drop, I call it my Fresh Fridays. New music drop on Fridays all the time from artists from wherever. And you're always looking for that motivational song that's your go-to in the morning, that pushes you. That is what The Creative has done. It has pushed me to making sure that we can get this on and put it on the playlist for our show, because it's just that good. Anybody who listens to it, whether you believe in God or not, it's going to tap into you.
That makes me happy.
It should. So when you find these kind of songs, and as we go on for creative, a new thing. I wish I could sing, because that's my jam. That is my jam. Where did it come from, and why did you say, yo, this is what I'm stuck on? Because you got stuck in that new, and as you get the new just rotating in your mind and going, it's in the words of people, manifesting, right? You know, right. I think I'm over the word manifestation. But so at the end of the day, yeah, we know who it is. But yeah, let's talk about a new thing.
New thing, man. Okay, so new thing came about in December. I did a live, Instagram live. And I like how I do. I have this thing called Acts Church, where I go live and I just do prophetic worship and all these different things. And one day, before Acts Church became a thing, it was just on a regular day. And I went live and God started speaking to me. He said, and it was December before the new year. And he said, the next year is going to be the year that I do new things. And I said, okay, cool. And I'm just singing, and God said, He's going to do new things. And And He took me to the scripture, behold, I do something new. Behold, I do a new thing. I'm making rivers in the desert. And all this. And I was just like, okay, yeah, that's what He said. He said all of that. And then, but He told me, He said, people think that I'm going to be coming in the same way I came the last time. But I'm not. When I say I'm doing a new thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to be giving you new cars. I'm going to be giving you, new jobs, nothing like that. But I'm giving out new perspective. I'm giving out new visions. I'm giving out new wisdom, new kinds of wisdom, things like that. People always tend to think that God is doing new things materialistically, when it's really the inner us that God is really trying to work out. And the song came about just like that. And He said, I want them to know that in order to receive and inherit these new things or this new way of living, the only way to do it is to sit at my feet. So that's why it says, don't miss me. That means you can't be out here just doing your thing thinking that you're going to get in on the blessing of the Lord. What you're going to have to do is there's a responsibility required, which is you need to sit down and you need to come sit with me, and I'll show you where you need to be in order for you to receive what it is I'm about to give you, what it is I'm about to show you, what it is I'm about to take you to. Like, but you have to be. That's really where New Thing came from. And the funny thing about it is, it's like the word has come full circle in a sense, because the pandemic happened.
Yes.
And we're in this pandemic, and it's like, well, God, you said you were going to do new things and make great things. This is a great year. This is our year and all this stuff. But excuse me, what's happening? And God said to me, and I've been saying it all week, is that God said, like, well, here's the thing. My word has to be tested before it comes to pass. Just because I give you the word doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to come the way you want it to come. That goes back to me thinking I'm about to blow up on the secular side. It's like, nah, I ain't tell you that. I told you that everything was going to be fine, but I ain't tell you how. but if you sit at my feet long enough and relax, you won't have to worry about any of those things. And it's like, my word has to be tested, he said, and I'm faithful to my word and everything. But it's funny because sometimes it's going to be like new too. There's a version of the version of that scripture that says that, behold, I am going to do things that are like new, and which basically means like there might be old positions that people had to step down from for you to get into. You know what I'm saying? And there have to be positions that have to be desecrated, that have to be torn to pieces, and new ones have to be created so that you have a place to be where you're supposed to be. It might be your time to just be whoever I've called you to be. That's new too. So that's really, it was just a prophetic word for God's people to really just get into position and prepare for what is coming, which is whatever God says he wants, whatever he wants it to be for you specifically.
Right. So even when we talk about in preparation and have to be tested, I remember talking to my bishop, shout out to Bishop Roger Hennings. And so, and one day I was like, I just understood. I don't understand why these things happen to me. He calls my nickname is certified. In order for you to be certified, you have to be tried. And I was like, okay.
That's good.
So this is, thank you for that. Because in order for you to get like the grocery stores, it has to be tested. Because you spoke something into my life when you was here in Buffalo that I don't talk to people about, but it happened to be someone there in Buffalo that was there who I've recently had conversations with. So it's like, okay, this man speaks, he knows. You know, because sometimes you folks be a little sketchy, right?
Hey, I know.
So I'm grateful for the word you rendered, right? And so in this time, what would you say, you know, that someone who believes in God, has a relationship with God, or even just people in general, how should you be preparing? You know, of course, getting at his feet, but what do we put to action? Because, you know, we're action people, right? It's like, what do I need to do in this moment? Of course, I'm praying, but what else do I need to do?
And the crazy thing about it is like literally nothing. Be still. Don't do anything that God is not telling you to do. And I know that's like, people be like, oh, that is so spiritual, that's so churchy, that's so this. And I'm like, yo, yes, it is. But I'm telling you, the best thing, God is not dumb. He's been God for a long time. And he's been doing this a long time. So the person who was the author and the finisher of us, our story, if he wrote your story, my story, and everybody else's story before we got here, you don't think that he don't know what he's doing?
Right.
So why not just chill, figure out what it is he wants you to do, where you need to be, how you need to be there, and then be there. Because you don't know whether he's going to lead you to the left or to the right, to the back, to the front. But wherever he leads you, when all of this is over, you'll be exactly where you need to be to receive whatever it is that he needs you to receive, or do whatever he needs you to do. So for me, that's all I've been doing. And people think like, oh, what have you been doing? You've been doing this. And I'm like, yeah, I read. Yes, I play video games. Yes, I've been writing music. Yes, I've been preparing for what's coming after as it relates to, because music still has to be written and done. Yeah.
Right.
But at my first thing I do every morning is I sit down with God and I don't say nothing. And I let him speak. Now, I might talk a little bit, do my little 5-minute, 10-minute times of prayer. But after that, I shut up. And I say, what is it that you would have me to do? What is it that you would have me to see? What? My eyes are open. My ears are open. My mind is open. My heart is open. Because I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss you. I want to be exactly where I need to be when this is over and right now. Right. And I don't want to move. If you don't say move, I ain't moving. Some of us needed to sit down. Some of us needed to deal with ourselves. Some of us needed to start or restart or reconnect with God the way that they've been praying and asking God to do. Like, I need to reconnect with you. I want to reconnect with you. And here he goes, and he allows this to happen so that you can do it. So people are saying, should I go this place? Should I do it this way? Who should I call? Nobody. Sit down. Be still. And listen. And maybe you'll get the answers you need instead of trying to look at the news or find the next book or find the next thing or fad to be a part of, and just relax and say, man, God, what do you want? And I'm telling you, God will be like, oh, snap. I've been waiting on this question from you the whole time. I'm glad you asked. Let me tell you what I wrote out. You want to show you? Right. I'm going to show you this plan. And it is incredible to be there. That's why I encourage everybody to just sit down. Just sit down and talk to God. And if you're like, what am I supposed to say? Nothing. Just say, hey, God, how are you doing today? Right. Listen, I'm open. What would you have? Yes to your will or yes to your way. Whatever you say, I'm listening. My eyes are open. My ears are open. What you got? And sit up.
What you got? Yes.
And listen, if he don't talk, he don't talk. If he do, he do. But just... it's sometimes we're expecting to hear this big situation, or sometimes we're expecting to get these answers, and sometimes God is just like, I have nothing to say. I just want you to be quiet. Maybe you just need to sit for a second and just chill, because you don't. But yeah,
no, we don't. And I think this pandemic has really allowed a lot of us to really take a moment to have to deal with us, right? And I think, as we're dealing with ourselves, and your music is really it has been a soundtrack for the pandemic.
Wow.
And someone recently just even posted on here, let's talk about Tremble.
That is my song.
Because I always want to get behind the pen, right? I want to get behind the pen in the mind when people are making these songs, because music, of course, we already know, has ability to really control you. It has ability to shift you. Why I'm very mindful of how I am on the radio, because I know what I play has power. It brings about memories. It brings about emotion. It's some songs I'm like, can't listen to that right now. Or songs you run to. And I think Tremble is one that we run to, just like New. So let's talk about Tremble as why, this was even created. Like, what was the mindset? What was going on behind this pen?
So it's a cover for me. The first two songs I wrote myself, but Tremble is a cover. I've been listening to Tremble since 2018. I heard a beautiful woman, anointed woman named Stephanie Dawn from Bethel Music. I heard her sing it, and from then on, I've just been like, this is my favorite song ever. And I was singing for praise and worship and everything. And then one day, I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this song. Because everybody was like, you sing it all the time. You should just do it. I was like, nah, it ain't for me. I'm going to lead it when I need to lead it. But I'm going to chill. It's for me. It's my song that ministers to me. But the reason really, truly why I did it is because when you think about the fact that I'm cool, I'm relaxed, I enjoy everything that everybody else enjoys, whatever. But at the end of the day, me and God are like this. And I don't ever have a problem with sharing or expressing that to anyone, right? And I know the person that has helped me through the worst of times. And I know the name that I called the most
Yes.
in my worst of times, which was Jesus. And when you listen to the words, is Jesus, Jesus, you make the darkness tremble, Jesus, Jesus. You silence fear, which for me was a thing. And sometimes can still be a thing if I allow it to be. That fear is really the number one thing that cripples God's people. And not God's people, people, period.
People, period, yeah.
Fear will cause you to divorce.
Yeah.
Fear will cause you to stay in the marriage. Fear will cause you to move too quickly or move too slowly. It'll cause you to do it'll keep you stuck. It'll keep you stagnant. It'll cause you to think that even I'm not worth it, whatever the case may be. But fear is a real thing. But what I learned is that Jesus' name is greater than any other name, right? And because of that, I will never stop singing or talking about the name of Jesus. There is literal power in the name. So Tremble for me is just a reminder that no matter what life brings or what's going on, I can literally sing it or just say the name, and I can change that. If I say it as many times as I have to, it can literally shift my atmosphere.
Yes.
I don't care if I had an argument this morning at 9 a.m. By 10 a.m., the atmosphere could be shifted. If I just continue, if I say the name Jesus just enough, I promise it'll change. I have been there. I've done it. But Jesus, there was no greater power. And I think that the world needs to be reminded that it is because of Jesus that we are alive today. But that's my joy. That is my joy. I will sing it to the day I die.
Yeah.
That's my joy.
And I think you hit it right on the nail, changing the atmosphere. Like in the midst of this atmosphere where people are worried, people are just really going through it, you decided to create something. So let's talk about Acts Church. Like, what made you go about, deciding to show up regularly? Because it's a commitment when you decide. It's a commitment, right?
Listen.
And you created Acts Church, and why was it called Acts Church, and why are you doing this? What's the why, Daryl? What's the why?
All right. So last year, God took me to Malachi chapter 3. And also Malachi chapter 3 and also in Acts, where it talks about the people gathered together, which is kind of where the church started. It gathered together in homes. And it talks about how they got together in homes and they started to fear the Lord. And the word fear in that space talks about to revere. It means to revere him. And because of that, he heard them. And he multiplied them, and there was a book of remembrance written about them. And it just talks about how because of their sacrifice to just worship or talk or pray together and eat together, God remembered them. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Because we always at church. We always doing something. And then me and my best friend were talking. I was like, we need to do something. He was like, we should do a bonfire and just do it outside. I'm like, yeah, we're going to do that. But life started happening, and I never got a chance to do it. And then the pandemic hit, and it was the first Sunday that everybody was like, no church. And everybody was doing all these live stream churches. And God woke me up that Sunday, and he was like, I want you to watch a couple of church services today. And I was like, okay. So I watched some, and I was like, wait, what? Is this what we're giving people? Like, this is the golden opportunity to literally give Jesus to the world. There are people who are streaming now that have never streamed. So everybody's taken care of. You know what I'm saying? But we're giving them, what is this? I don't know what it is. And God says, my heart is broken that my people are changing to fit a culture that they never were supposed to fit. And I was like, okay. I said, well, my heart is broken too, but what do you want me to do about it? Because I don't got nothing for you. Right. And he's like, yeah, you do. You do have something for you. And he took me back to Acts and back to Malachi. I said, okay. And he said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go live tonight, and I want you to invite some of your friends over, and y'all are going to sing. I was like, okay. So I told them, I was like, yeah, God told me to do this. Y'all down? They was like, yeah. So they came, and we sang, and we worshiped, and gave a word, and went home. And we were like, this is cool. And then the next week, I was like, you're going to do it again. I was like, okay, well, such and such is coming on tonight. You gonna do it again? Right. Okay, cool. Then he showed me a vision after the second one. He showed me a vision that this would be something that I would continue to do, and that the people need what I have in this season, that he's going to use my voice in this season. And I don't know why, but I said, okay, this is hard. This is a sacrifice, because then you couldn't have anybody. So I had to do it on my own, because they put the mandate that only so many people can come around or whatever. So I was like, I got to do it by myself. And you're going to.
Wow.
Okay, whatever you say. As long as you are there, I'm cool. And Acts Church has become one of the things for me that has blessed my life. Because not only is it ministering to everybody who's on live, but it is ministering to me to show me that, to be honest, that I can be faithful to something that I have to do.
Yes. Instead
of only being faithful to something that other people have. So if I'm on someone else's team, or if I'm a part of a committee, or if I'm a part of something for somebody else, I can be faithful. But when it comes to me and what God has given me to do, can I be faithful? And it proved to me, and it is proving to me that I can be. If I want it bad enough, and if I love him enough, I can literally be faithful to what God has called me to. And I don't have to get lost in everybody else's stuff, that mine goes unfinished. So I have to continue.
We have to continue. And Acts Church kicks off at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Yep.
So after this, not too long after we
Tonight we got Bishop Jason Nelson, who is incredible singer, songwriter, and pastor, who will be giving a quick word before I start tonight. And I am excited about that. He is incredible. And I hope that you guys are ready to get what he got. So he's going to be joining me tonight.
So just to even type into what you said, what I love most is, we're in a new world, right? And I like to call it IGTV. I'm scrolling through channels, right? This is our channels.
You and me both.
And so some stuff you're like, oh, why did I roll into this? Get me out of here real quick. Oh, this is crazy. And because now you're getting a chance to explore the people that you follow, and you're exploring the people who follow you too. And you're getting a chance to see things. So this particular gate is wide open. And so for you to take this stand and utilize it, one, like you said, you were watching other churches. This is an area, I'll say a young man's game, right? The digital area, the digital age of how do you use your creativeness, your creativity to capitalize off of pushing a word that sometimes we got to get out into the world to bring people into. And that's like what you're doing. So during this time as I would say, what's it called? Millennials, right? Or millennial age. How do we utilize this time to not necessarily drill God down the throat of somebody, but to be able to be an example? Why do you feel like that is important of how we show up? To not only say, hey, I'm a Christian, but how do we show up as a Christian? Because you're doing exactly what God called you to do, and you're tapping into people who you would never normally tap into. So how do you capitalize off that to ensure that once we tap into them, we're keeping them as well? Because that's important.
Just stay authentic. And I know that's like simple, but to me, all I always can do, and here, especially with us, and as millennials, I hate the word, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I know.
As millennials, as our generation, we do not mess with folks who are inauthentic or unauthentic. We do not mess with it. We be like, I'm good. I don't want that. I don't want to. Nah, bro. Next. So all I can say is whatever you're giving people, just make sure you're giving them who you really are. It don't matter. Nobody said be perfect. Nobody said make sure that your I's and your T's are. Nobody said any of that. We said be authentic, because authenticity is relatable, and relatability saves. And that's why I don't ever. I'll make sure that even when we do these, whatever questions you ask, I give the most truthful, honest answers I can give, because I know what my life is on a day-to-day basis. But I also know that I'm not the only person who's dealing with this like me. Everybody has something that they're dealing with, specifically in this pandemic. we are all worried about finances due to the fact that all of my finances are gone. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that I'm broke, but saying that my income is not coming in because I can't go work. So I'm not the only one who's dealing with it. Everybody's dealing with it. So it would be wrong of me to come on here and be like, you know, and everybody like, well, then since you got it all together, sir, we'll go find somebody else who don't, because we're trying to figure out how we all gonna get through this. I would say authenticity, man, is key in this season, and as for the rest of your life. Never give people images, because images fade. But authenticity, it is solid. Who you are is always solid. And people will always respect and accept and receive everything with everything given in an authentic space.
Absolutely, I agree. I always tell people our Facebook, Instagram is normally our highlight reel when we're posting up the pictures. We're not posting up pictures of us struggling. We're not posting up pictures of us, you know, going through, crying. None of it. You're getting the best of the pictures we're giving you. Filtered all, right? And I'm
cool. Here's the thing. And you took time to look that good. So post it. That's fine. But just give me something that also says that, hey guys, it's a bad day. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, look, you see my beard, it ain't trimmed. I'm sorry. I mean, and I don't apologize at the same time. This is what it is. Because people need to know. They need to know that there's a standard that the society has created that does not, it does not really truly exist. We cannot meet that every day of our lives because life don't work that way. It just don't. So that's what I was saying.
It don't. And so I like to call it the pretty and the ugly, right? You get the pretty, but then there's also like this ugly side where you about to catch me waking up, the wig ain't on, eyelashes ain't on, you know, however you see. And a lot of folks is dealing with that right now in this pandemic. Truly. They can't go cut. Guys can't get their hair cut. Edge up looks crazy. Beard is a little rough. And it's hard, a cut, you know.
Right now.
Yes, right now. So, you know, for me, I also equate that to like life. You know, when we're really moving and grooving in our flow of our creativeness and the creativity that we possess, it's bringing in the things we need. But then there's also that downflow of what I like to call the ugly. What we don't want to discuss, the things we don't want to have, you know, conversations about. And we could call those the valley moments, right? And so, because the mountain is on its way. But, you know, how have you been able to overcome those moments? You know, as we talk about the real, it's just like, we can see the great things when you're on tour, you know, you're out here, you're pumping out things, but we don't know about those, you know. But how do you personally overcome them? Because there's been times where I'm like, God, like, come on now, like, why? And they say you're not supposed to question God, but I have questions with God on a regular.
Oh, no. Listen, we dispelled that right now. No, I asked God why. What and why? What are you doing? Because I don't understand. Because you didn't told me to come, and now I done came, and now this is weird. It's weird. What are you doing? Why am I here? Why are we doing this? We need to have a conversation, because the reality is when God says, when you come to him to pray, you come to him humbly. Facts. But it also tells you to be very specific about what you pray for. So I'm not going to lie to him and be like, God, you know what? Your will be done. No. What is it? What is your will first? And then I'll think about it, even though I'm probably going to say yes anyway. But just I would like to have the option to say yes, because I need to know what are you doing. But for me, like that, that's it. I am just absolutely A1 real with Jesus, because Jesus knows everything. God knows everything. He knows what I'm thinking. He knows how I'm feeling. So it would be dumb of me to come to him and act like everything is okay. Right. But I talk to him and let him know how I feel, because God literally cares about how you feel. And once you start to talk to him and start telling him, like, this is what's wrong with me, this is how I'm feeling, this is what's going on, I don't understand, I don't get it, I don't understand. But as you start to speak your truth, the Bible says that we overcome by the word of our testimony and the blood of the Lamb. But when you start talking about how you feel, what you're going through, you literally start to feel better. That's why when you go to counseling, they tell you, how do you feel? And by the time you done finished cussing or being mad or crying or whatever you're doing, at the end of you be like, well, you know, I feel real good. Yeah, it's literally the same thing with God and with your life. You do not allow yourself to be overwhelmed, although you get overwhelmed. But it is okay to be overwhelmed, and it is okay to say, God, I am overwhelmed. So can you overwhelm the thing that's overwhelming me? Because I'm done.
Right.
I've done all that I can do. And at this point, it's on you. So for me, going through life, it has been very, very hard. I've had some tough times. And a lot of them, and people won't be honest, but a lot of them, I created these problems. And I had to figure out how to live with them, deal with them, and get through them on my own, but with God, for real. And really kind of find out, you know, why I'm here. Why am I going through this? And when I say I believe scripture, then I have to believe it. You understand what I'm saying? Even though it's hard. You said that all things work together for the good of them who love God and are called according to the purpose. So that means that my good and my bad are literally, they're working together as friends for my benefit. Okay. So that means that I should be able to be okay. But it ain't going to be like that all the time. But I have to remind myself, but also be okay with saying, I am not okay.
Yeah.
I am not okay. I don't know if everybody knows Jennifer Lewis. Jennifer Lewis, we know her most from being everybody's mama on TV. But she was like Tina Turner's mom in the movie.
Yep.
Jennifer Lewis. I met her years ago, and she came up to me and she was like, you know, you are very wise, and you can really sing, and you are very spiritual, and you know stuff. She said, but you don't feel your feelings. She was like, you need to learn how to feel your feelings. She said, feelings and emotions are moments. Moments are meant to be what? Momentary. They're just supposed to be just for a moment. She said, but if you don't feel your feelings, if you don't feel your emotions, they'll go with you every day. And then they'll start to show up in places that they don't need to show up. Then they'll become things that they're not supposed to become. So what was supposed to just be a little sad moment becomes depression for months. What was supposed to be an angry moment becomes resentment, or it becomes all this. She said, you don't need any of that. Feel your feelings and go through your feelings when you're in it. And when you're done with it, be done with it. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
That's how. Just really paying attention and being honest with yourself about where you are. You can't go wrong. And find a support system, get counseling, get therapy. But you ultimately, you are the person that has to make sure you are okay.
And so she was able to tap into that because one time she had to go and do her own work. I love that lady. I
love her with all my heart. Yes. You hear me?
She was like, oh, I can see me in you. Let me talk to you for a second. She's just that good.
I love her.
I love that. And so that's good. It's supposed to be for a moment.
Just a moment.
That's
your
good.
Feelings, how you feel is just a moment. So don't be scared of how you feel. You don't want to be scared. Oh, I'm getting angry. I can't be angry right now. I'm sad. I'm about to cry. I can't do that right now. No, you can.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Right.
Because you need to get it out now. If that means you need to go to the closet, or go by yourself, go get in the car, whatever you got to do, but go through that moment. Go through it. Because if you don't, it's going with you wherever you go. No matter how much money you make, no matter how successful you get, doesn't matter. It'll be with you up there. And it'll start to. Then you'll be the guy that everybody be like, I don't want to go. I'm not going over there. You don't want to work with her? No, I don't. I don't want to work with her. She got issues. She's upset. She's emotional all the time. But if you go through your stuff, deal with your stuff, allow it to have its time because it's there for a reason. Emotions are not to be. They're not there to guide you forever. They're not to be your guide. They're just to let you know, hey, take a breather. Relax. All right, you felt that. Ooh, I did. I felt that. All right. Feel it. Keep feeling. Go on through it. Feel it. And now we good. And we can go about our business.
And what I love is how I feel like your moments transition into your music. And I feel like you're able to really articulate that, in it. So as we kind of just going back to the music and even now taking those moments to Acts Church. you know, as a creative, you know, what can we expect next from you? Because I'm loving these sporadic moments, you know, of music you're delivering. I love it, and I'm looking forward to some more coming. But what can we expect next from you? Because I love the spontaneous live, like. I love it all because it's really speaking and it's really enriching. And like I said, it has been a soundtrack to this pandemic for me, especially tapping in. So what can we expect next from you?
For me, the reality is that I'm moving towards this direction of doing this, however it looks. To be honest, Acts Church is literally like a catalyst for whatever's coming next. And I know that pastoring is coming. So I'm just preparing my mental for whatever that looks like, because it's not going to look like what we know church to be. And that's why I said Acts Church is literally the catalyst for that. But then on the music side, I have a lot of things working. So the Walls Group is working on 2 albums all at the same time. I'm working on my own stuff for my conference, The Awakening. We have music coming out, which is more so on the prophetic worship, spontaneous worship side stuff. And then, of course, you know what the Walls Group going to give you. They're going to give you hot, funky stuff, which I'm excited. And actually, next week, the first track from that is coming out next week, next Friday. So I'm excited about that. But that's really what's happening. I'm just making sure I focus my energy on giving the people what they need to be given instead of giving them what I want them to have. Right. And I got some stuff that y'all can just have.
Listen, but we're taking it all. We accept it all.
Because y'all take it. But I want to make sure that I'm very strategic and wise in what I give, because people need what they need. They don't need what I just cut. They don't need everything. They just need what they need. That's insane. Ain't that crazy? It's very, very, that blessed me. I don't even know. That just blessed me. They just need what they need.
Because you gave me what I needed. The new and the creative. Those are 2 songs that, like I'm saying, like amongst all of them, they play. But those 2 particular ones, in for me in this moment, right, are constantly on repeat for me. So
that makes me happy. I love that. I love that.
Listen,
that means you like to worship.
It is. Yes, you got to get into it. Like
I love worship.
My friend, I said, listen, before I get on the radio, like, I'm blasting my gospel and getting into it, because I know that I have a responsibility to my listeners and what I say. So what I say is absolutely intricate to the delivery and making sure that whoever it hit. So, you know, I'm not no pastor, but my lane still has a pulpit, right?
You're still called and you have a platform, and your platform requires you to have a responsibility, and that's it.
And so with those responsibilities, you know, before you go, I always try to make sure, you know, that my folks leave individuals with 3 G codes, right? And, you know, what would be, and, you know, I call them my go-getter codes, but today we're going to call them the God codes, okay? So what would be your 3 G codes to success? And when I say success is however someone defines it, but you being able to be in your happy place, doing what you're called to do, and being able to reach those people and impact those people. What would be your 3 G codes?
My 3 G codes would be: know who you are. And if you don't know, get to know you. Figure that out. And when you figure that out, stay authentic. Because when you start climbing up the success ladder, things start to get real weird. And people are doing this and doing that. And you're like, well, I think I might need to do that. You know what I'm saying? Or why? Well, what I'm doing ain't getting that type of attention. Stay authentic. And my third would be just to honestly, truly keep God first. Because even though you want to, whatever they got going on, it looks like it's being a blessing to everybody and they're getting blessed in their pockets. Don't worry about that. When you follow God, and I am a testament, the Walls Group is a testament, that it looks like that everybody else is surpassing you and doing their thing. It just looks like it. But that's it looks like.
Woo!
That's all.
At times. You like this. Okay.
It just, you be like, nah, I know.
Right.
I know him. He'll pray. So what is happening? I go, what is going on?
I pay my tithes.
I pay my tithes. I don't cuss people out when I know I should. I don't throw hands when I should have. I don't do none of that.
Come on, speak today.
And you got them over here, and they are just thriving, ain't they? But here's the thing that goes back to the thing I said earlier, is that what they might be thriving in the material way, but on the inside,
right,
just as messed up, because they took their moments and their feelings with them the whole way. And I had to God had to humble me and remind me, sir, the fact that you sought healing was enough. You didn't seek success. You sought healing, and because you sought healing, I will reward you for that. So that's what I would say. Those are my three things. Know who you are, stay authentic, and keep God first. And I'm going to add the fourth. Seek healing. Never, ever seek success. Ooh, please don't. Don't do that. Pursue healing. Don't pursue success. Because we have a lot of stuff that we have gotten from childhood stuff, from just life stuff, and we take that stuff. It can't go with us. It is fuel. And it's for our story. It's for the big picture, but you can't take it with you. Because if you take it with you, when you get up there, you ain't going to know how to handle it. And then everything's going to come crashing down. I have seen it so many times, and I'm just sitting there like, wow. Man, I got to pray for this guy. I got to pray for this chick. I got to pray for her because she doesn't even know that she's still mad at her mom. And because she has so much hate for her mom, when she hit that peak, it's going to be a thing. But God said, just seek healing. When you seek healing, everything else will be seek ye first the kingdom of God, and everything else will be added unto you. That's what I said. That's my thing.
Well, I appreciate the fourth G code, and Instagram has a habit of shutting folks down. So we're about 5 minutes out, but I really want you again to share with them where they can find you. Of course, website, SoundCloud, anything where we can get the music streaming, and of course letting them know about Acts Church, because I'm tuning in tonight.
Come on. So tonight, Acts Church is 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Was that 5 o'clock? The other place, West Coast time. Yeah. Okay. And I'm gonna have Jason Nelson. He's gonna talk first. He's going to give us something great, and then we're going to go. We're going to go. Whatever God says is what he says, and that's what we're going to do. That's Acts Church. It is every Sunday, 7 p.m. Then, if you want to find me, here I am. My little name is right there, Music with the Q, City. But also, all you do is type in Darryl Walls anywhere. It'll come up. I'll come up anywhere. You might see some bad stuff. You might see some good stuff. But here I am. I'm still here. That's all. Don't matter to me. All of us. It's all good.
Right. Because God got to use the ones that have been tested and tried, because you're verified.
There it is. You're talking right.
Come on.
That verified is good. I like that.
It is. I had to bring that in because I was.
You got to be certified. Woo.
That's what he said. I was like, I don't understand. Why is this happening to me? Why me? He was like, in order to be certified, you got to be tried.
I like that. I'm taking that with me.
It's all right. Go right ahead. Just quote me. I
got you. That's good. Because a lot of people just want to be certified. They don't want to be tried.
They don't want to be tried. They don't want to be tried. And it took me there when I remember watching the test dummies on I think it was a Super Bowl, and they showed the cars and the dummies in the car. I said, I must be one of the dummies in the car who's being tested. Because they're testing the car out here, okay?
It's the only way it's going to work. You got to be, in order for people to even care about what you have to say, you got to have something to say.
That's it. And you got a lot of things tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. is Central Standard Time, and then you said 5 or 4?
5. It should be 5. 5. It should be 5.
Listen, just tune in, okay?
Be there when you see my name pop up. How about just turn on the notifications? Yeah, and then it'll come up. There you go. Fix that.
Tune in every Sunday. We tapping in. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much again for tuning in and getting on this with me. And thank you for my word, because I'm still writing off of it and still listening to it.
Thank
So
you for
I
having me.
appreciate
I
it.
am honored that you even had me on here. Seriously.
Of course, of course.
I am
And I
honored.
share the playlist of the songs that I'm in rotation with. So I'm gonna let you know once I share the playlist.
Let's do it.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Love
All
you.
right, guys. Have a great Sunday, and make sure
All
you
right.
tune in to Acts Church. All right. Hey, guys.